Get him, Lee!
In episode 1, we ended off with the introduction of Ippy and the final season 2 PLPL MVP votes. If you want the full recap, go watch episode 1, then come back to this video. Anyways, I'm not gonna waste any time because we have a lot more to cover here. With Dylan coming off of an MVP season and the introduction of Ippy towards the end of the season, season 3 was bound to be great. And great is a understatement, let me tell you, because in the offseason, the league decided to draft 4 new rookies in replacement of John and Af, announcing their retirement from the Pro Play League, considering they should have never been there in the first place. These new rookies are Dre, Ray, CP, and the one and only Mory. Now, these picks brought some well-needed balance to the league. Dre and Ray were pretty decent off rip. CP was kind of just there, to be honest. I mean, maybe I just wasn't paying attention, but he was not doing much in my opinion. And Mory, you know what? He'll have his own section of the video, trust me. But Dre, Ray, and CP were 100% problems for Dylan. Not because they were better skill-wise per se, but more players means more ignorance. So obviously with the new season means some players got better, some players got worse, and some players are trying their hardest. But one thing that was made clear is that Dylan was no longer the unanimous best player in Lockdown Protocol. He just wasn't. Dez had improved his overall mechanics. Ippy wasn't as butt as he was first starting out, but by zero means does this mean he's good in any type of way. Mark had a historical come up in skill, so much so he 100% took Ben's spot in the top 3. Ben kind of didn't improve at all, if I'm being honest. I mean, from all the film that I've watched and I've studied, and I've had other pro Lockdown Protocol players study, he hasn't really made any significant improvement, in my opinion. Ray matched Mark's ignorance, and he was pretty decent mechanically, I guess. Dre definitely played in the G League before because he was really good for a rookie. And as said earlier, CP was kind of just there. And finally, Leland, who was still Leland. Now, this is where Mory gets his own little section of the video. Mory is a different flavor of ass. Let's take one of the worst players, for example, Leland. Leland is ass, okay? And everybody knows it. Everyone acknowledges it. He's ass. But everyone also knows that randomly he can make an insane play and win him and his teammates the game. All right, we all know this. So Leland isn't 100% terrible, but Mory, ooh, shit. In episode 1, I said Leland sometimes doesn't know what's going on, but this nigga Mory genuinely doesn't know what's happening.
What?
Hey, I'm
White.
It's not me, bro. It's blue. It's blue. It's blue. It's blue.
Oh fuck, I'm dead.
It's blue. It's blue. It's blue.
Now, by no means is he worse than John or Af, okay? But at least John and Af they're not known gamers, okay? Not saying Mory is a known gamer, but everybody knows John and Af don't really play games like that. So nobody really expected much from John or Af. But I had so many high hopes for Mory. I thought this was a great draft pick, but Mory had us all fooled. He shit the bed the minute he laid in it. So with all of this being a factor in matches, Dylan's first couple of matches were a little rough, I'm not gonna lie. His lies were consistently read through.
Oh, Dylan gave me the wrong color. Dylan is fucking, look, give me white. Why he give me that?
He just wasn't as efficient as he was the prior season, and he wasn't winning as many games. His dissident games were ending fast because everyone got better at doing tasks, and he just didn't look like the undisputed best player anymore. He just didn't. But who was Dylan's main matchup? Who was his rival now that everyone had made a leap? Well, Dre was extremely solid, and he even told some existing pro players how the new access cards worked. But I would say Dre relied way too much on RNG and being able to get the assault rifle than actually making high IQ plays. Dre was overall the smartest out of the new rookies, and I always noticed him saying the most logical things and being right 90% of the time, but he was extremely ignorant. If I'm being honest, CP reminds me of somebody like Cody Martin, and if you don't watch basketball, you 100% don't know who that is, but for context, he does just enough on the court to not be considered ass, and that's the definition of CP. He's doing just enough in these matches to not be considered ass. And then Mory, we just covered Mory. We're not talking about him again. So obviously, I'd say none of the rookies are a direct rival to Dylan, but Mark and Dez 100% was. As I said earlier, Mark made a huge improvement over the offseason, and he can be considered a direct rival to Dylan. And Dez is definitely a very close second. He'd honestly be better than Mark if he wasn't so goddamn old. So overall, the question now is the current state of the PLPL. Which of the three is going to win the MVP? Dez, Mark, or Dylan? Now, by no means did Dylan fall off that much. All right, don't get it twisted now, okay? He is still widely known as the best player. It's just he actually has some doubters now and some competition. And with a new season comes a new MVP race, and it is close. Before we talk about that, let's talk about the smaller awards and the people in first place for those smaller awards, because I think they need some acknowledgement. This is a no-brainer, and it'll obviously go to Dre. I mean, his first year is looking amazing, and he has a great RNG as of recently. I mean, he just spawns in with a pole and lights up the whole lobby. His access card luck is crazy. Ray is definitely smart, and he's somewhat good mechanically, I guess. But just like CP, he's low-key kind of ignorant, and ignorance can be a superpower, but Dre cannot control it. Now, the most improved player award, I think Mark has this locked down at this point. I mean, early on, he was like locked in as the third or fourth best player in earlier seasons, and he struggled to close the gap between him, Ben, and Dill. But he has far surpassed Ben, and he's climbed his way up to be considered better than Dez at this point. Now, this is a hot take, but I think Leland will win this award. Now, before I get flamed in the comments, hold on. Hear me out. Yes, Mark and Dill have the best lying track record in Lockdown, but they have tells that any experienced player will see if they are shown. In my opinion, from what I've watched, Leland is so ass that you don't ever know if he's the killer or not, unless he does something extremely sorry. He does the same thing as a dissident and an employee. Not shit. He doesn't do shit as either role. So he'll walk around and do nothing 70% of the time on both sides. The only person that I've seen suspect Leland and be right more than 50% of the time is Mark. And that's just because like they was in the sandbox together. So he has that advantage. So yes, in my opinion, I think Leland wins this award at the end of the season because he's so ass, you never know when he's lying for real. And finally, the MVP. Now, I still believe that Dylan will win the MVP, but if Mark and Dez make another great leap like they have again this season, then one of them is getting the MVP and Dylan is no longer the best Lockdown protocol player. And he becomes second. He's not top one anymore. He's top two. But we will just have to see where this season takes us.